Welcome to part 2 of this Juventus starting from scratch Football Manager 2015 experiment with me, Paul, otherwise known as Golden FM. Maybe check out part 1 so you know what's going on in this mini-series. There's going to be 3 parts. In this part 2 I'm holidaying 3 more seasons, so at the end of the 2015-16 season you can see Juventus were promoted back to Serie A in Italy, along with Parma and Livorno. Comfortably going up, only 5 defeats all season, 89 points. You can see the manager is Dello Rossi. Let's have a look at the transfers they made to see if they spent big to go back up. No, they didn't. They only spent 3.4 million and were comfortably promoted back up to the top division, which you'd think is, well, that's very sensible and very good from them. And perhaps that means they've got plenty of money to spend this coming season to try and push forwards. We'll find out, I guess. Let's look at the squad to see how they did. 14 goals was the top scorer. Top average rating, Marco Fossati. So very well done to Juventus. At the end of this episode, I will look at some of the ex-Juventus players to see where they are. I know some of you guys actually probably find that more interesting than looking at Juventus themselves, but I'm going to holiday another year to see how they do back in the Serie A. So here we are, the 2016-17 season has ended. Dello Rossi is still in charge. We've still got Andrea Barbaris, the captain, and the key player still Kingsley Coman, 3 seasons in. Still 4-star reputation, they're rich, but they only finished 12th in Serie A, so they did survive at least, I guess. Sampdoria won it last year and Napoli won it this year, so we've had 3 different winners since Juventus were forced to start from scratch. 46 points, so 6 points above the relegation zone. Not amazing, but still I guess that's a decent start back in Serie A for them. But I guess we have to see if they can reclaim the Serie A title over time. This is the squad, this is huge now. Let's look at the transfers quickly. They spent 53 million this year, but not a massive marquee signing. The top sign was Ogbonna for 10 million, and a few other players, which just accumulated to 53 million in total. They did sell £5.25 million worth of players. Let's look at the squad then, see how they performed. Top scorer, 11 goals, was Omar Damari. Legend. I used to love this guy on about probably FM11, FM12. He was a real star. Amazing strike. He's still pretty decent looking at him. Kramaric also got 7 goals with Belotti. Top average rating was Torremino. Only played 2 games, so we can't really count him. I suppose the best player was Paulo Ferrogo, playing 24 games. Interesting. So I'm going to holiday 1 more year in this part, and we'll see if they've managed to get back to dominating Italy. I don't think they will, looking at this. No, they haven't. 9th in Serie A, you can see at the top there. Finances have gone down to secure, reputation gone down to 3.5. We'll have to compare that to the rest of Italy in a minute and the rest of Europe. But they've actually got Paulo Sousa in charge, who went to PSG on the last starting from scratch experiment I did. I'm sure he was in charge of PSG. Strange, really. Let's look at the table then. Sampdoria champions once again, only 1 point ahead of AC Milan, very tight at the top there. No one running away with it. Juventus down in 9th with 55 points, 17 points off top, and 17 points off the relegation zone, right bang in the middle there. Let's look at the team, see how much money they spent this year. 44.23 million spent. Top player was Lewis Holtby from Hamburg and Sandro, both 9.75 million. It's also signed Mitrovic, great player, and Kristig. Lorenzo Kristig, I used to love him as well. I think it was FM12. He was a real good player, really good defensive midfielder. They sold £7.25 million worth of players. Belotti went to Parma. Let's look at the squad then. See how they did. Top scorer Kramaric, 16 goals. Kingsley Coman with 11 as well. And top average rating was Angelo Ogbonna, who they signed last year. Age 30 now, 16 caps for Italy. Decent, solid defender. Let's look for Juventus on the Europe list then. So we've got the top Italian team is now AC Milan. We go down, we've got Inter and Sampdoria. Keep going. There's Genoa, Torino, Palermo, still going down. Atlanta. So where are Italy? Have I missed them out? Italy? Where are Juventus, sorry. Let's have a quick look here. Maybe we can see them on this list a bit easier. So Juventus are down here below Atalanta. So that's why they're not in that list. Finances wise in Italy, they're actually the 5th richest club in Italy. The top one is Roma. So if we go back to that Europe list, look at the finances to see where they are. They're going to be quite low down the list, I think. They're 25th. That's not too bad, but you know, they used to be in the top 15, I would say. They're also 25th when it comes to the coefficients for European tournaments. Let's look at Italy as a whole, just to see, are there many Juventus players in the squad now? If any, let's have a quick look to see. Wrong one. We want general info. Here we go. So there's actually a few Italian-based players in, which is quite rare for Italy. We've got one Juventus player, which is Ogbonna. So let's look at some of the ex-Juventus players. We've got Arturo Vidal, who is still at Man United, been there for 4 seasons now. Paul Pogba still at PSG. Carlos Tevez, now age 34, he's still at Benfica. Llorente's actually moved to Liverpool. He was at Real Madrid, wasn't he? For 1 season. Did quite well there. Then moved for 12.25 million to Liverpool. Since then has been, especially this season, 24 goals, did quite well. Let's look at the Premier League quickly to see how it's panned out over the last few years. Liverpool, Chelsea, Man City and Man United have won it lately. At the end of part 3, I'll look at all the other tournaments in a bit more detail. Marchisio has also moved to Man United. So they've got Vidal and Marchisio. We didn't look at him last time, I don't think, and he's had a good time there. Just wanted to see if Pirlo was still playing. He actually is, but he's 39 now, and he's in the PSG reserves this season. Although he did play some first team football, quite a few games in fact. So, wow, at 39 he's still strutting his stuff. Maybe he's going to retire now. Let's have a quick look. Yeah, he's retiring. So this is his last year in football. I'm sure there's lots of other players you'd want me to look at, but I'll end with Chiellini, who's now 33 years old. He's at AC Milan. He moved to Barcelona at the start, but then AC Milan signed him for 1.9 million, and he's been there for a year and a half. So that's the end of part 2. I hope you found it interesting. Juventus haven't recovered yet, so I'm going to do one more part where I'll holiday a few years into the future, and we'll just have a look to see if they have managed to finish first, or at least returns towards the top of Serie A. The idea is for them to win the league. If they don't, then they haven't really been able to start from scratch. If they become a mid-table Serie A team, then it's a bit of a disaster for them, really, and that will prove that we've destroyed them. It doesn't work with every team. Some teams they really flop. Other teams like PSG, they do recover and dominate again. Please hit that like button. Please subscribe if you haven't done so already. I'll see you soon, guys.